Right now, choose any new 20 Mazda and get 0% for 60 months, plus 90 days deferred payments during the Team Mazda upgrade event happening now at Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
In her tenure, the mayor-president has spent almost $4 billion of our taxes. She's had so much, but done so little. We're near the top nationally in revenues collected, but rock bottom in quality of services. Pay more, get less. That's failure. I'm Jordan Piazza. I'm a small businessman, not a career politician. With impressive new ideas, bold conservative management, and plenty of energy to eliminate politics, we can renew our success. And trust me, we will.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping that your weekend was an absolutely fabulous one. If not, like we say each and every Monday, good Lord willing, you will still be here when the next one comes our way, and you'll have the opportunity to try it all over again. Tomorrow is the day. Election Day. And for those of you that have yet to decide how you feel about this barrage of constitutional amendments that you will be asked to decide on tomorrow, we reached out to one of our greatest resources here in Louisiana for a nonpartisan look. It is the Public Affairs Research Council, a staple of political intelligence, for lack of a better word, here in the state of Louisiana. Stephen Procopio is the policy director for P.A.R. and joins us to start today's show. Stephen, how are you, young man?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for having me. I'm a huge fan.
You're quite welcome. Thank you, sir. So let's start with Amendment 1 that reads, do you support an amendment declaring that to protect human life, a right to abortion and the funding of abortion shall not be found in the Louisiana Constitution? Give us P.A.R.'s layperson's view of this.
Okay, this is actually, it's probably the most controversial of everything on here. It's probably the simplest, though. Pro-life people are sort of concerned that if Roe versus Wade, which is the Supreme Court decision that made abortion legal throughout the country, if that ever gets overturned, then there might be a state Supreme Court, Louisiana State Supreme Court ruling that says, well, you know, there's still something in the Louisiana Constitution that makes it impossible to outlaw abortion. So this is essentially trying to preempt that. Nothing in the Constitution says that there's a right to abortion or funding to abortion. So what this doesn't do is it doesn't make abortion illegal, and it doesn't make abortion legal. It just says the judiciary can't go in there and find a right to abortion in the Constitution. That's pretty much straightforward. Generally, if you're pro-life, you're probably going to be for this, and if you're pro-choice, you're probably going to be against this, though there are exceptions. That's generally the sort of thing on this one.
All right, Amendment 2 reads, do you support an amendment to permit the presence or production of oil or gas to be included in the methodology used to determine the fair market value of an oil and gas well for the purpose of property assessment?
All right, this is the first of a couple of sort of technical ones. This really comes down to how property is assessed in the state.
Okay.
Now, for you and I, if you have a home, they basically look at the market value because you can go and see on the internet what homes are selling for. But you can't really do that with a well.
Right.
So there's other methods of assessing this types of property, but one of them, the sort of income approach, people are concerned that that's not constitutional. So this amendment would allow it to be used. Overall, this is really an agreement between the local assessors.
Are you still there, Stephen?
Yeah, I sure am.
Okay.
They have been fighting over this sort of problem for a while, that they can't really use what they think is the best method. And so they both actually agreed to this. So these are two sides that normally don't agree on much, but on this one they actually agree that this would be an improvement to the process. It will make us a little bit more like Texas, though not necessarily identical. An important thing about this one is that it is not intended to be a tax increase or a tax cut. It's just sort of changing the method of assessment that will allow those oil wells that produce more would probably be ranked as more valuable, and those oil wells that produce less or are shut in, are not producing, would probably be assessed lower. So there'd be some shifting, but it's not a tax cut and it's not a tax increase. Right. It would really depend on the individual well.
Amendment 3, do you support an amendment to allow for the use of the Budget Stabilization Fund, also known as the Rainy Day Fund, for state costs associated with the disaster declared by the federal government?
So we already have a Rainy Day Fund, and it exists so that when we have a shortfall in the budget, say that there's a recession or like an oil bust,
right,
when prices go down, we can tap into this fund. This would say, in addition to that, if there's a federally declared disaster, then we can also tap into that fund as well. And the pros behind that, the people supporting it basically say, hey, look, we get hit with a lot of disasters in the state. This will give us another resource we can use when those things hit. And the cons against it would say, this is really, it's great, but it doesn't add any more money into the fund, so you're going to take already existing resources and stretch them out further.
Amendment 4, do you support an amendment to limit the growth of the expenditure limit for the state general fund and dedicated funds, and to remove the calculation of its growth factor from the Constitution?
So there already is an expenditure limit, and it grows every year per the Constitution, and it increases each year based on the growth of personal income in the state. This constitutional amendment would take the growth factor out of the Constitution, separate law that says, okay, now the growth factor is going to be based, in addition to personal income, it's also going to be based on GDP and inflation and the population change, and we're going to average those things together. And it's also going to reset to whatever the last budget was. So it doesn't continuously grow. It comes back to whatever the last budget was, and then it grows from there.
All right. Amendment 5. Do you support an amendment to authorize local governments to enter into cooperative endeavor ad valorem tax exemption agreements with new or expanding manufacturing establishments for payment in lieu of taxes?
This is another controversial one, and it's also one of the more complicated ones. It allows local governments to enter into a contract with a manufacturer to set out what their property tax payments would be over a 25-year period. It's a little more complicated than that, because you have to understand that there's an ITEP system that already exists for people that get exemptions.
Right.
And you have to understand that people right now can do these, what's known as a payment in lieu of taxes, or a pilot. That already exists. The business has to turn over their property to sort of a government entity,
right,
and then work out a lease scale. The people that are for this basically says this gives economic development another tool. Local governments, the school board, local government, police, jury, sheriffs have come out in favor of this because it gives them more control over their own taxes, because property taxes are local government. revenues, and the people against it, like the assessors, as well as other organizations like Together Louisiana and Together Baton Rouge, and other organizations have come out against it because they think that they're going to set up bad deals where they might give up too much property taxes just to get some additional money up front.
Amendment 6. Do you support an amendment to increase the maximum amount of income a person may receive and still qualify for the special assessment level for residential property receiving the homestead exemption?
So, people that get their house assessed, and that can increase with inflation over time, if you are over 65 or if you're disabled, certain types of disabilities, they freeze your assessment and says, okay, look, we're not going to increase the value of your home as we assess it over time.
Right.
The idea is that if you're living on a fixed income, you don't want that the tax bill to sort of crowd out what people are paying.
Right.
However, in Louisiana, there's an income limit. It was set as $50,000 in 2001, but it's grown to $77,000 now.
Okay.
So if you make more than $77,000 now, you do not qualify for this assessment freeze. This constitutional amendment would change that to $100,000. So then you would have more people that would qualify for this assessment freeze.
All right. Amendment 7. Do you support an amendment to create the Louisiana Unclaimed Property Permanent Trust Fund to preserve the money that remains unclaimed by its owner or owners?
So there's an unclaimed property program in the states run by the Treasurer. You might have seen ads for it, like online or on TV.
Right.
Essentially, if there's a bank account that never got properly closed or a rebate from an insurance company, that's unclaimed property, and eventually businesses turn that over to the state. And the state has the responsibility to turn that back to its rightful owner. As it's set up right now, if that doesn't get turned back in a year, if we have more incoming unclaimed property than we can actually return, that money gets spent, and the state spends it in the state general fund on operating expenses like
Right.
higher education and health care. This amendment would say, no, we're going to put that money in a trust fund. We're going to invest the money, and any interest and earnings from that can go in the general fund, but you never actually touch the corpus, and so it's always available for people to come and claim since it's rightfully theirs.
Refresh my memory, if you would, Stephen. Does the Public Affairs Research Council issue an opinion on any of the amendments as are set forth for the voting public tomorrow?
No, we sure don't. We purposely don't take sides when we do our guide because
Right.
we want to make sure we have an unbiased, a source you can turn to try and get what they do. There are lots of other places that do recommendations. Lots of media do recommendations.
Right.
And so we let other people do that part and just really try to do the research to dig down on what these things actually mean.
Well, my friend, as always, we appreciate the work that P.A.R does on our behalf. And if you would, let folks know how they can access this common man language breakdown that you all have done for us for these amendments.
Sure, it's on our website. It's at P.A.R. Louisiana spelled out .org. And we have a long version that goes into detail, and then we have like a shorter version, and then we even have a one-page version that tries to break it down depending on how much time you have.
Fantastic.
Louisiana.org.
Fantastic. Stephen Procopio, Policy Director for the Public Affairs Research Council here in Louisiana. Thank you for the time, my friend, and do me a big favor and stay safe, Stephen.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're quite welcome. All right, first break of today's show. We'll get this out, and we'll come back with more on the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, right where you've got it, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wages wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
You could be driving. Right now, during the Team Honda Upgrade event, get a new 20 Accord Sport for just $309 a month with no money down, no first payment, and no security deposit. It's time to upgrade to your new Honda at Louisiana's #1 new car dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
By all standards, he is a champion for consumers. Because of Public Service Commissioner Eric Scrametta, our utility rates are 35% less than the national average, the lowest in all of America. He saved ratepayers over $8 billion. Commissioner Scrametta brought us more reliable power plants and energy-efficient solar fields. Public Service Commissioner Eric Scrametta. Keep the commissioner who keeps our rates low.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Well, tomorrow, finally, is the day. And this weekend, as I'm watching news coverage of the upcoming election, it occurred to me, as a man who has spent the entirety, 40 years of his professional life as a member of the media, I'm thoroughly ashamed of what it's become. What was once a trusted institution in this country, charged with being the vanguard of truth in our society, has completely abandoned its duty and become actively engaged in hiding the truth from the American public. Not only that, but they have joined forces with those who are seeking to destroy this republic. You know, the founding fathers knew the importance of a free and open press and what it meant to we, the people, and the sovereignty of this nation. We have arrived at a point in time now where the media is free only in regards to being free to hoodwink the American people. The bold, brazen, in-your-face way that the mainstream media and the social media platforms have chosen to ignore what is arguably the biggest political story of our lifetime should scare the dickens out of all of us. Whether we are Republican, Democrat, black, white, religious, atheist, whatever. When a group of people with this much power and this much influence openly engage in a conspiracy to lie by omission to more than 330 million people, it becomes real clear that there's nothing these folks won't do to gain more power and destroy this land. Whatever the outcome is tomorrow, those of us that truly love this country, truly appreciate the freedoms and the liberties that we enjoy, we cannot allow this to go unchallenged and unpunished. If we do this, allow the media to go unchallenged and unpunished for this blatant abdication of duty, we will commit an egregious sin even uglier than what the media itself is attempting to do. Many of you have expressed frustration and feel like there's nothing you can do as an individual. Clarence, I'm just one person. I can't fight the monolithic social media platforms. I can't fight the mainstream media, ABC News, NBC News, CBS, CNN. They're so much larger. They're a conglomerate. They're a corporation. I'm just one person. Well, actually, it's a lot easier than you might think. All we need, and I am calling on an individual of means or an entity, National Republican Party of means, launch a website with a small staff, 20 to 30 people, and their job every single day is to monitor every single show on the major networks and post on the website who the advertisers are. Then we conservatives make the commitment that we will no longer watch any of these shows and we will no longer purchase any product from any advertiser on those shows. Not only do we not purchase them, but we let these businesses know this is why we are not buying your product. Listen, it's no longer enough not to watch ABC News. It's no longer enough not to watch news from the mainstream media. They understand we don't get our news from them because we already know about the spin. We know about the lies by omission and commission. So their mission is to keep those that they have already hoodwinked in the dark. But if you, after their news goes off, continue to watch the comedies, the dramas, the reality shows, you are enabling them to continue to fund the news departments that are hell-bent on using psychological warfare against the American public. It is something that is within our control. And what happens is, if you do this, you don't have to worry about being that individual calling ABC network and saying, you guys ought to be ashamed of yourselves. When these companies that spend millions of dollars a year advertising on the major networks, when their revenue gets cut in half because you're no longer buying their products, they will call ABC, CBS, NBC, and let them know, you better get your act together or we will no longer advertise with you. When their funding gets cut in half, ABC News listens, CBS News listens, NBC, CNN, MSLSD, they listen. Additionally, when you stop buying these products from the companies that advertise on these particular programs, all of a sudden, the commercial sponsors will tell these folks, I'm no longer paying the rate that you are asking because you only have half of the audience that you used to have. They respect these folks. It's obvious they don't respect us. as individuals. If they did, they wouldn't collectively go out of their way not to cover the Hunter Biden laptop story. It is as glaring an example of disrespect of the American people as you will ever find. And if you think it's going to be easy, I'm not saying that, okay? It will require a little sacrifice on your part. It may mean you no longer stop at the national fast food chain and get a hamburger. It may mean that you stop and get the ground beef, you go home and cook it yourself. But at the end of the day, you'll probably get a better burger. You'll get a prettier burger, not something all smashed up and thrown in the bag at you through the window. You don't have to worry about all the monosodium glutamate stuff that's in the burger that you don't want, the preservatives and everything else. So it's a win-win. You get a healthier product, and on top of that, you are not enabling a lie to be perpetrated on the American people. At the end of the day, it may mean you can no longer stop at the national chain and get that smoothie that you like. It means you stop and buy the fresh fruit yourself, go home, throw it in your blender, and make it yourself. You don't have to worry about the preservatives. You control the amount of sugar that goes into it. It's healthier for you all the way around. It may require that you no longer go to the big box retailer. But the good news is there are mom and pops all over the place that sell the exact same thing. You might have to pay a little more, but in the grand scheme of things, it is a very small price to pay to save this republic that we love. At the end of the day, y'all, we are at a crossroads in this country. And the media has let us know in no uncertain terms, they've declared open war on us, either by commission or omission, meaning when they do tell you something, they spin it, they lie. Other times, well, we're just not going to tell you, even though it is arguably the biggest political story since Watergate. But they have gone out of their way. They have, get this one, colluded to keep the truth from you. If we allow this to go unchallenged and unpunished, then we deserve what we get. This country was founded by individuals that would not stand for this sort of thing. And I guess at the end of the day, the only question now becomes, are we going to step up to the plate and answer the call? I urge you, I plead with you, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired watching all of this, then it's time we stand up and do something about it. You know, you have to ask yourself, how is it, Clarence, that we got in this mess? How did we get here? Well, I'll tell you, but you're going to have to stick around after this next commercial break. That's called the tease. Let me get this bottom of the hour news break out of the way. How did we get here? If you are one that says, Clarence, I have no idea how we got here. It's like just overnight, all of this stuff happened. Well, nothing happens overnight. They've been working on this for a long time. As the old folk would say, they've been working on this for a mighty long time. We'll talk about that next as we continue the Clarence Bugg Show here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Masks help us slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask, wash our hands, and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up.
Go Jags!
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Today's the day to score thousands in savings on a new Toyota during the upgrade event at Team Toyota. Choose the all-new redesigned 2020 Highlander and get $1,750 customer cash. Let today be the day you score thousands in savings at Team Toyota, I-12 at O'Neill.
During COVID, many local businesses have been treated unfairly. The big box stores continue making money, but not many of our local businesses. I know firsthand. As your mayor president, I'll fully open the economy while protecting the vulnerable. But I want our people and businesses back working again. I'll not rest until we change our economy with new, innovative, and larger businesses with greater payrolls.
A clear leader for unclear times. Jordan Piazza, Mayor President.
We can succeed again, and trust me, we will.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. So, how did we get where we are in America today? Well, this didn't happen overnight. The liberals have been working on this for a mighty long time. They have managed to infiltrate, over the years, every single important institution in America. Public education, higher education, the court system, politics, the entertainment industry, news, sports, and yes, even our churches. The liberals have gotten this thing down to a science. They understand to sell you something that is against your best interest and to sell you something that's against what America's all about, first, they got to come up with a catchy name, a cute name, a catchphrase to play on your emotions. For example, abortion. They can't call it baby killing, which is what it actually is. So instead, they came up with the phrase, abortion is health care. If it's health care, ask the baby how healthy it was for them. Then they came up with a woman's reproductive rights. Now, in America, we're all about freedom, liberty, and rights. And who wants to be the person that's standing against a woman's rights? Then, after they come up with the catchy phrase, after they come up with the cute name, then they come up, for those who still resist buying into their agenda, then they have an ugly name waiting to call you. So if you're against women's reproductive rights, then you're a misogynist. Think about this. Have you noticed in recent memory how many ugly names they've come up with to call us when we don't buy into their agenda? We've got misogynists, homophobes, xenophobes, science deniers, white privilege, systemic racism, and the list goes on and on and on, all in an effort to play on your emotions and get you to buy into their agenda. The liberals have become masters of the half-truth. They very conveniently forget the true part of the argument that puts everything in context. For example, they will teach our kids that America was evil for using the atomic bomb against the Japanese in World War II. But they very conveniently forget the fact, first off, we were at Pearl Harbor chilling, minding our own business, weren't bothering anybody. And you decided to come and attack us. And when we retaliate, well, now we're evil. They forget, or very conveniently leave out when they call America evil, that we saved millions of lives by not having to invade Japan. And the fact of the matter is, let me give you an analogy. Calling America evil for using the atomic bomb is tantamount to someone breaking into your home, raping your wife, killing your children. But you're the bad guy because you happen to come home in the middle of this, got to your closet, got your Louisville Slugger, and beat the holy hell out of it. But you're the bad guy. No, that's the bad guy. None of this would have happened had you kept your sorry behind out of my house to begin with. But that doesn't fit the narrative. The liberals have gotten to be masters of this. They got this thing down to a science. And in the case of black folks, this may go down as the greatest con job in the history of the human race. The liberals have managed to con black folks into taking part in their own demise. How else can you explain black folks going completely against their own interest? Let's understand something here. Not long ago, black folks were the most spiritual and religious people in this country. We had to be, because that was all we had. We couldn't vote, we couldn't get an education, we couldn't own property, we couldn't have a business, we couldn't even marry who we wanted. We were in slavery. So God was the only thing we had. These folks, meanwhile, have managed to con us into going against not only our own best interest, but we now vote for people that go against what God says we ought to do. Hi, I'm here to talk with you today to see if I can get you to go along with killing 16 million of your own children. Will you help me? Okay. Hi, I'm here, and I know it's Sunday, and you're getting ready to go to church, but I'm here to help you take God off your money, out of the courthouse, We already got it at your children's school, but we'd also like to take the 10 Commandments out the courthouse. Will you help me, please? Sure. Hi. I'm here to give you the right to give Adam and Steve the same marital status as Adam and Eve. Will you help us? Okay. Do you see the insanity in this? They have managed to run a con on us that is second to none. And at the end of the day, when you look at it for what it truly is, we will have millions of black people tomorrow that will entertain voting for Joe Biden. Why? Because Joe told y'all, them conservatives, they're going to put y'all back in chains, even though he was the one who wrote the law and it was signed into law by a Democrat president that locked up more black people than any single law in the last 55 years. These people, liberals, have conned you to the point where millions of black people are going to consider voting for the guy who locked us up instead of voting for the guy who let them out. Go figure. Millions of black people tomorrow, because the media and the liberals have incessantly fed us this propaganda, millions of us tomorrow will consider voting for a guy who in 47 years, 8 straight of them had him as the second most powerful man on planet Earth. But he did nothing for HBCUs. We will vote for him instead of voting for the guy, Donald Trump, who secured funding for HBCUs for the next 10 years and increased it by 25%. We will consider, millions of us as black people tomorrow, voting for Joe Biden when the records are really clear. But see, part of the con is deflect and hijack. Have you noticed the Biden-Harris campaign is using the slogan, the battle for the soul of America? You know, when you talk about a soul, there is an automatic reference, an automatic tie-in to God. You can't talk about somebody's soul without talking about God. But these are the same people that took God out of your children's schools. These are the same people that want to take God off your money. These are the same people that want to take God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, and the same people that want to take the 10 Commandments out of the place where it's needed the most in our courthouses. But they claim it's a battle for the soul of America. Now you know why Malcolm X called liberals the greatest threat to the United States of America and the biggest enemy to the black man in America. Not my words, read them for yourself. And all you have to do is look at where we are today. Now we're going to get to the good stuff. How do we fight this? Got to stick around. One final commercial break. Thinking about this over the weekend, there is an amazing analogy with where this country started and where we are right now. Conservatives especially, you're not going to want to miss this. It's up next as we continue the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Bugg Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing. 5 days a week here on the Pelican. The Clarence Bugg Show. The only thing missing is you.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Back to the final segment of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. So, how do we fight this? First and foremost, conservatives, we have to realize that we are in a war. And these folks don't fight the way we fight. The liberals don't go into battle recognizing and respecting the internationally accepted rules of engagement. The liberals don't go into a fight with a moral compass. They don't go into a fight fighting with honor, with dignity. Let me give you an analogy. It occurred to me this weekend. Probably the most clear and glaring example to bring this thing home for you. Revolutionary War. The British, dressed up in their bright red, spiffy uniforms, they lined up in perfectly symmetrical lines. They marched rhythmically to a cadence and marched directly into withering fire. The colonists, on the other hand, formed a skirmish line, unleashed a deadly barrage of musket balls. Immediately, they dispersed, reorganized in another location, formed another skirmish line, and unleashed yet another volley of withering fire. In the last 20 years, conservatives have been the British. We have wrapped ourselves in this beautiful red, white, and blue flag. We have marched understanding and accepting the international rules of engagement. We've wrapped ourselves in the flag, going to battle for God and country, trying to fight with honor, with dignity, while the colonists / liberals have engaged in guerrilla warfare. Nothing has been beneath them. Calling your names, subverting this country's security, setting up illegal deals on the side, keeping a group of people hostage, keeping them dumb, keeping them poor, keeping them ignorant. This is a war, folks. And the sooner conservatives realize these folks don't fight the way we fight, the better off we're going to be. I don't know about you, but when all is said and done, I would hate with every ounce of my being to be the one that has to explain to our grandchildren and their children why they no longer have the freedoms and the liberty that we had growing up. I would hate to have to be the one to explain to our grandchildren and great-grandchildren why it is that the American people no longer have any trust whatsoever in the institutions that used to be so near and dear to us. I would hate to be the one left to explain how it is that what is arguably the greatest experiment in self-governance in the history of the human species came to an end on our watch. This can only happen, y'all, if we allow it to happen. Sadly, so many of us have been asleep at the wheel for so long, we haven't noticed this ever increasing encroachment on our way of life. So many of us have gotten so lazy that we have allowed the media to think for us and then tell us how to think. So many of us, in our pursuit of the American dream, whatever that is for each individual, so many of us have sat on the sideline and allow those we elect to serve us to become of the opinion they weren't elected to serve, they were appointed to rule. For those of you that didn't pay attention in American history class back in the day, we got sick and tired of being sick and tired of somebody waving their hand and issuing a decree, and we had no choice but to follow it. We fought a freaking war so that the individual would have the right to self-determination. Now, we got to understand something here, America. If you decide you don't want to make any sacrifice, if you decide you don't want to take advantage of all the blessings that this country affords you, if you decide you have no use for trying to put forth maximum effort to be the best you can be, as an American, that's your right. I'm not going to condemn you for that. But I won't take part in it. And at the end of the day, I will not stand idly by, nor will my fellow Americans that love this country and allow you to demonize those who truly appreciate what this country is all about and are willing to stand up and fight for it. What's the old saying? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. We're at that point, y'all. We are at that point. And at some point, you got to draw that proverbial line in the sand. And unfortunately, so many of us as conservatives have refused to acknowledge the line. Well, Clarence, you got to understand, I don't want to, I'm non-combative and, I don't want to draw that line. Well, guess what, Hoss? That line has been drawn for you. They have drawn the line. The only question now is, will you stand up and defend your side of it? Tomorrow is the day that is the envy of the entire free world. Tomorrow is the day where all of the blood, the sweat, the tears, and the lives that were shed will give us the opportunity for self-determination. If you're one of those that's okay with your lot in life, there's nothing I can tell you. But if you're one of those that love this country and you want to see it passed on to your children and your grandchildren, you already know what your obligation is tomorrow. I only hope that you as an American will exercise your right tomorrow to tell the media, to tell the politicians, and all the naysayers where the true power still resides in this country. If you don't, well, you will have absolutely no one to blame but yourself. My time's up and I gotta go. But once again, this day, more than any other, I give it to you. You're right. America, we're not perfect, but doggone it, for my money, it's the best there is. And God knows there is no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Then again, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.